Namaskar, Om Guruve Namah. Welcome back. Uh, I have an interesting presentation today. I'll be talking in both English and Hindi in this. A lot of thing is in Hindi, so many of the Hindi followers should be able to understand it as well. And largely it will be in English. Uh, I have great interest in studying Mahabharata and our other Puranas, etc. And as a though I had interest previously, it was, I would say, after studying jyotish and all that, the interest grew even more, um, because we would read all these texts not just from the perspective of what happened and the learnings from that, but also learning from the point of view of jyotish, like what kind of problems people face and how to get out of it, specifically even remedial measures. Many of our puranas, etc., mention specific mantras. Even otherwise, even if mantras are not given, you know of which devatas to worship and what exactly needs to be done, etc. Okay, and even today's discussion that I may show, there will be few examples. So when I come across that, I will show to you how that aspect also is used. One other thing is, I'm presenting this thing as an equal. I'm not an expert in Mahabharata. I don't even understand. I mean, I can't say I don't understand Sanskrit at all, but I'm not a Sanskrit scholar, right? People spend years and years, 10 years, 12 years, learning just Vyakarana, the grammar, so that they can understand every pada. And there are so many rules. There are Panini sutras which are more than 1,000 odd, maybe 4,000 odd sutras are there. So this requires years of understanding. Okay, so I am not what you say, a teacher or anything in this. I'm just sharing this because what happens when I read Mahabharata, there are some things which are like very interesting moments, and you wish you could share this with someone, and like-minded person who are interested in this. So I'm using this as a medium to also do that. And maybe in future, there could be a community of people who would be interested, because honestly, in the past this was a common norm. People, there would be pravachans, there would be long pravachans of all these Puranas and Mahabharata in every village. uh, like it may go on for weeks and all that. It would be like a festival kind of atmosphere. People would come together, and a teacher who is seated on a Vyasa Pitha, we call that Vyasa Pitha, where a teacher is supposed to sit on a higher place, and he will read out the text and give the meaning also to the people, and then people would discuss amongst themselves and understand better. So that's how all these texts were actually understood. Over a period of time, people then just start reading it like as if it's a manual without trying to understand it, or just read the Sanskrit without. I mean, many people won't understand Sanskrit, but we can all read it, right? So these kind of texts have to be understood in great detail, and when there's a community kind of thing, it makes it all the more interesting. So I am not a teacher, I'm not a guru. Guru is a very very high thing. I'm nowhere near that at all. Okay, I'm just explaining or sharing this as one interested person to another. Okay, and if wherever you think I am wrong, please feel free to point out. And if you have some perspectives you would like to share, please share it. I'm Another thing, I'm not like picking Mahabharata from beginning or anything like that. I'm going to share what I found interesting. I have read Mahabharata not like from the beginning to the end or anything like that. I've read snatches here, a portion there, and all that. And it's like I find that whatever I have to read at a point of time, that comes in front of me. That is some great divine blessing, I would say, by Guru and God, that it comes, and then I read it and I find it enjoyable. And another thing is, I'm not very disciplined at it. So I may read for a few days and then I leave it. I want to make it more like a practice. So that is also another reason why I'm making this effort, so that I make it a practice to read it regularly along with you, and hopefully it is of some use to the people who are listening to this as well. So I request the blessings of the Vriddha Jana, the older people. I request for the well wishes of those who are my age, same age, and the prayers of those who are younger to me, that I may continue with this, and it is good for all of us, like a win-win kind of thing. Okay. So without further ado, let me get into the specific text or portion which I want to talk about today. And this comes from uh, much into Mahabharata. We are talking of um, the Aranya Parva, right? When the Pandavas are exiled into the forest after they have lost the dice game, and they've gone through a lot of difficulties and trials and tribulations and all that. And this particular is portion comes uh, soon after Draupadi. She had been kidnapped by Jayadratha. Jayadratha was the husband of Dushala, the only sister among the Kaurava brothers. Okay, she was the one sister for those 100 brothers. She was also the sister of Pandavas. So she was married to Jayadratha, who was the ruler of Sindhu Desha, the modern day Sindh, which is there in Pakistan. Uh, Now, this person, he cast an evil eye upon Draupadi when they were in the forest, and while the Pandavas were out, maybe fetching wood or something like that, he goes and kidnaps Draupadi, and then the Pandavas have to fight with him, and the whole thing. I will not get into that. Ultimately, the Jayadratha is defeated, and Draupadi is rescued. So after that, just after that, throughout this Aranya Parva, the beautiful thing is very much similar to the Aranya Kanda in. I call it Aranya Parva. I think it's called Vana Parva in Mahabharata, while Aranya Kanda in Ramayana. In both of these things, the common thing is that when Sri Ram was in the forest during his exile. Similarly, Yudhishthira in his exile with his family, there would be a lot of rishis who would be coming and discussing with them, because most of the rishis, they would be living they are hermits, they live in the forests and all that, and they keep on traveling from one place to the other. So they would come and they will give their blessings, they will share some stories and all that. And uh, at this point of time, Yudhishthira is very dejected. He feels, what I mean, okay, I am in the forest, that is one thing. We have to spend these years over here, and with great determination. Let me tell you, there are so many things happened before this. In the Vana Parva itself, for example, Draupadi and Bhima have been having a lot of verbal arguments with Yudhishthira. Of course, they are respectful towards him, but at the same time, every now and then they will be giving it very harshly also to him. Like, why are we spending this time? We should go out and fight and all that. Yet, Yudhishthira is saying, okay, dhairya banaye rakho, have some patience. We have to go through this and all those things. And he has some strategic reasons. We will discuss it at some other time. Uh, but these other additional things happen. Once Duryodhana and his brothers came just to mock at them, and that's another thing. Then this Jayadratha fool came, and he tried to abduct Draupadi and so on and so forth. So Yudhishthira was very dejected, and at that time, Markandeya Rishi comes. Markandeya is a very, very great tapasvi rishi. His famous story, he had very less longevity, just 16 years, and Lord Shiva increased it and all that. So there's a separate story. You will find that in Devi Bhagavatam and all. Now, Yudhishthira in dejection tells Maharishi that, is there anyone as bad as me, suffered like me? And then we were discussing about Sri Rama just now. Markandeya Rishi gives him the entire Ramayana. I mean, not the entire length and breadth of it, but the summary of Ramayana is presented then in around 19 or 20 chapters. In this, it's called Markandeya Samasya Parva or something like that. And then once that finishes, then Yudhishthira asks, this question, and this is called Pativrata Mahatmya Parva, and we will jump straight into that. Yeah. Uh, Now, another important thing, throughout I will be only referring to the Gita Press edition, which is a Hindi translation, and which has also the Sanskrit shlokas in that. To me, this is the best uh, edition to read and study Mahabharata. There is this what you call critical edition made by Bhandarkar Oriental Research Institution, which is Bori in Pune, which is about around 100 years back or so. They made this thing. I appreciate their scholarly work and all that, but they have, like, I feel at times they have thrown the baby out with the bathwater. There are certain huge portions at times which I have seen during the course of my reading. Uh, I may point it out to you later where all it is so. At least few I have seen, and you don't get the head and tail of it, because they have removed a lot of portions, and they've only taken those portions which is widely available everywhere, because their logic is only that which was there everywhere is the right. I think it is taking logic a bit too far. Okay, so I depend upon Gita Press edition only. Gita Press is like very traditionally made, and good thing is they have a lot of footnotes, because many of times we may not understand. See, there are commentaries written on Mahabharata also. Imagine 1 lakh shlokas on which also commentary has been written. So there are at least two commentaries which are there. So the authors of this translation, they have referred to all of this. They must be very learned Sanskrit scholars. They have referred to all of this, and they have given us the, so they are obviously scholars, right? Not like me. Okay, we are just reading the translation and trying to understand. So they made it very useful and simple for us. So this is, so I find this as the best. This mentions the in the Mahabharata, you have what is called, it's divided into parvas, like Adi Parva, Sabha Parva, Udyoga Parva, so on and so forth, Bhishma Parva, Karna Parva. These are the parts. Like Ramayana was divided into kandas, like that. Then within the parva, because some of the parvas are itself very huge, like this Vana Parva itself is like very huge. Let me just be sure it's called Vana Parva. Yeah, it's called Vana Parva. Vana Parva, not Aranya Parva. My mistake. So Vana Parva. So within Vana Parva, there is this sub Parva called Pati Vrata Mahatmya Parva. That is the glory of the Pativratas. Pativratas are those who are dedicated to their Pati Dharma, that is, toward the duties and responsibilities towards their husband and also to the wider family, but they are very, very Pativratas. And in this, we have this famous story of Savitri. We have all heard of it growing up. Savitri and Satyavan, films are replete with Savitri, their jodis like Savitri, Satyavan, and all those things. She's like a Savitri, Sati Savitri hai wo. We have heard this kind of dialogues. So this is a story of Savitri, right? This is the actual story. We will go through this, and that is my plan. There are 7 chapters in this thing. This is not just in one chapter. It has been dealt in 7 chapters, and we will try and cover maybe a chapter in each portion. And I have read it few times, and I find it very, very interesting from many perspectives. Okay, and that's why I've chosen this, because I like it. I've chosen this to share it with you. Hope you would all find it interesting. Okay, so we'll start. So Yudhishthira Vacha. Yudhishthira is before that. Before we read Mahabharata, we should do a bit of prayer. So one prayer is Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tatho Jayam Udireyet. Tatho Jayam Udireyet. Jayam is the name of Mahabharata, the original core name of Mahabharata. And some say it is the original core portion of Mahabharata, okay, which is called Jaya, and then it was expanded to the larger Mahabharata. So this is, we are praying to Narottama, that is Sri Krishna, Saraswati, Ganesha, Vyasa, and all that, and we are asking for the blessing so that we understand what we are reading. Okay, and Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Gurave Namah, Om Brahaspati Namah. So Yudhishthira Vacha, Yudhishthira says, okay, so he asks, that you know what all द्रौपदी has suffered. इस द्रुपद कुमारी के लिए मुझे जैसा शोक होता है, आफ्टर वॉट ऑल शी हैज सफर्ड, द काइंड ऑफ सॉरो आई हैव फॉर हर, वैसा ना तो अपने लिए, ना इन भाइयों के लिए, ना राज्य छिन जाने के लिए. सो आई डोंट फील एज मच सॉरो फॉर my kingdom getting lost, for my brothers, they are also suffering like me, or even for myself, as much as I feel for Draupadi, the suffering that she has undergone, because she is a princess. She's been brought up all her life in princely surroundings, and she's been humiliated in the Kaurava Sabha. Over here she is suffering along with these people, and then this Jayadratha comes across and he tries to do all this nonsense. Okay. Then he says, when the sons of Dhritarashtra, they had put the Pandavas in great trouble, परंतु इस द्रौपदी ने हमें बचा लिया. This Draupadi, she had somehow rescued us from that problem. Because if you actually read that thing, it is, if Draupadi had not come over there, these Pandavas would have remained slaves. They would have remained the slaves of the Kauravas forever. There was no way out. Because of Draupadi, things became, it's like such a chaos was created over there that, at least all these conditions came across, that you go to forest and you spend 13 years, 12 years, and then one more year as Agyatwas, then you can come and take your kingdom. At least something like that came across because of this. फिर जयद्रथ ने इसे वन से बलपूर्वक अपहरण किया. So जयद्रथ had forcefully abducted her. क्या आपने किसी ऐसी परम सौभाग्यवती पतिव्रता नारी को पहले कभी देखा अथवा सुना हो जैसी ये द्रौपदी है? Have you ever heard of anyone like Draupadi? Such a great woman with great destiny, who should have a great destiny, and so much pativrata, in a sense dedicated to her husband. Have you ever seen or heard of anyone like that? So Markandeya says, yes, Raja Yudhishthir, I have heard of it. I know. There is a Rajkumari known as Savitri, who is like a model for all these, Pativrata Naris. She is like a model for them. She is an inspiration. Okay. She is Saubhagya Roop and Pativrata as well. And as well as that, Sadguna Samo. She has all the good qualities. Okay, I am going to tell about her story to you. And this is from Madhra Desha. So she is from Savitri, she is from Madhra Desha. Madhra Desha is the same where Madri came from, who was the wife of Pandu, Maharaj Pandu, and Shalya, who is the king of Madhra Desh, and an ally of Pandu. And Madri's sons were Nakul and Sahadev, the brothers of Yudhishthir. So these were like the ancestors of, in a way, of Nakul and Sahadev from the maternal side, from Madri's side. मध्य देश में एक परम धर्मात्मा राजा राज्य करते थे. वे ब्राह्मण भक्त, विशाल हृदय, सत्य प्रतिज्ञ और जितेंद्रिय थे. I'll read it in Sanskrit also. आसीन मद्रेषु धर्मात्मा राजा परम धार्मिकः, ब्रह्मण्यश्च महात्मा च सत्यसंधो जितेंद्रिय. See, these are the qualities given of a great and dharmic Raja. He is devoted to Brahmins. It is not from just like about caste perspective. Today when we say Brahmins, we talk of caste and all that. But Brahmana means those who are scholars and who are day in day out just studying the Vedas and the spiritual as well as the material knowledge from that, and then sharing it with the society. So they are like you may say the research scholars or something like that, or even higher than that, because they are also spiritually also at a high level, and also from an intellectual perspective they are at a high level. So such people are respected and revered and supported and taken care of by this king. That's why it's called Brahmana Bhakta, and which also shows a dedication towards knowledge. See, India today is going up by, and if you compare with say place like Pakistan or others who got independent at the same time, because we have given value for knowledge. We have tried to develop knowledge on our own, what we lacked in terms of technical knowledge, etc. So we set up IITs and IIMs and triple ITs and so on and so forth. And in medical area, in robotics and all these things, we have tried to research on our own. ISRO is, you can see, is a great example of us doing our own research and trying to bring good for our people. So when a society is dedicated towards knowledge and respects men of knowledge, now unfortunately in modern time, men of knowledge means only those who have high secular education, say scientists or doctors and all that. But in ancient times, we also considered spiritual education as important. In fact, a person should have both the qualities: high level of ability and knowledge of their field or their area, as well as high level of spiritual ability as well, spiritual attitude or approach. Vishal Hriday, meaning someone who is large hearted, right? Satya Pradikya, who is dedicated to truth, right? So that, I mean, that is the definition of an ideal king. Unfortunately, we may not have such kings or rulers in today's times, but that is what it is. And Jitendriya, someone who can control his senses, who is not slave to his senses, right? So hence he's able to do his work. He's not, you know, we have the six shadripus, or like anger, lust, and greed, and all that. Because he's Jitendriya, he's not affected by this. Okay. He does yajnas, meaning he does work. Yajna, one is, yes, you have the doing the various Ashwamedha and all these yajnas. That is one thing, but there are different kinds of yajnas. There's Deva yajna, Pitra yajna. So many yajnas are there. So this is doing one's responsibilities towards the entirety of society. Dana, actually it's mentioned Danapatir. Danapati means someone who is very charitable. Daksha, very capable and skilled. He knows how to do his job, right? And he is loved by his people. This is another important thing about a king, that he must be well liked by his people, because then they will follow him, and then there is order in the country. If the king is not liked by the people, right, as you find sometimes democracies, when there is so much of polarity, like you find in USA, for example, there are 50% people who love him, 50% people who hate him. This actually causes a lot of rift in the society. Okay, so a person should be such that he is well liked by many people, most of people. Okay, and Sampurna Bhuto ke hit mein tatpar rehne wala, who does good for, who is wanting the welfare of everyone. Okay, his name is Ashwapati, right? So this is the description given of him, and further it says he is Kshamashil, he is forgiving. He is not a unforgiving person, brutal, cruel person. You do one small mistake and I will cut off your hand. He is not like that. He has the tolerance to forgive you. Yeah. Satyavadi, which was already mentioned, he is dedicated to truth, and Jitendriya, right? But despite all of these good qualities, he is without any children, without any progeny, santanahina. Okay. And after a long time, see, he's been old now, and even now he is not having children, and he is very sad because of that, very frustrated because of that. So then what does he do? What does this king do? उन्होंने संतान की उत्पत्ति के लिए कठोर नियमों का आश्रय लिया. वे निश्चित समय पर थोड़ा सा भोजन करते और ब्रह्मचर्य का पालन करते हुए इंद्रियों का संयम रखते थे. So what he did, he said, normal way how children are produced, you cohabit with your wives and all, they are not producing children. It's been ages. So now what I do, it means my karmas are not having, that level where I can have children. See, in our traditions, this lack of progeny is considered as a very big dosha. It indicates a problem from the Purva Janma. In Brihad Parashara Hora Shastra, there is a chapter on shapas, on curses, and that is primarily about the Purva Janma Shapa, that is curses from past life. The main result of that is some problems with children, either not having children or children getting born and they're dying or getting destroyed in some way. So hence your Vamsha is not going forward. There is, it's not prospering, right? So this is considered one of the major doshas in a chart. So when one knows that it is like so then he understands that I have to get my karma of that level, so that whatever bad karma is there, I'm overcoming that. So to do that, he does kathor niyam, meaning he brings his lifestyle becoming very very disciplined, high level of discipline, and we'll see what kind of discipline. And he would eat very little, okay, and brahmacharya का पालन करते थे. Brahmacharya meaning celibacy, right, from, but not just from physical point of view, from a mental point of view also, and that requires great deal of sense control in a person. Anyway, this level of discipline itself requires great deal of sense control. One should not be giving away to one's senses. So this was the kind of definition, or what one would look for in a king. I'm just explaining this. This is what our shastras say of what you should look for in a king. Obviously, this is not the only place. There are several places, this is made, but this is one where it is given in much more sankshipt or in a summarized form for us to understand. हुत्वा शतसहस्रं स सावित्र्या राजसत्तमः षष्ठे षष्ठे तदा काले बभूवा मितभोजन. राजाओं में शेष अश्वपति ब्राह्मणों के साथ प्रतिदिन गायत्री मंत्र से 1,00,000 आहुति देकर. So this was a remedy done. So that was the lifestyle, that is having very disciplined lifestyle, and then a remedy. Okay, a particular mantra being done. That's why I told you why we read these things is also to know remedies. In fact, my Guruji, Pandit Sanjay, for lack of progeny, he actually gives Gayatri Mantra. And it is mentioned in his book, Vedic Remedies also, and I believe it is mentioned on his website also, right? With certain bijas and all that, he gives that. So, 1,00,000 ahuti. And दिन के छठे भाग में परिमित meaning very limited भोजन करते थे. परिमित भोजन करते थे. He used to eat very limited food in the छठे भाग. Actually, it's mentioned kala, shashta kala. Now, kala. Now, again, here jyotish knowledge helps a bit. So, we are talking of a day which means from sunrise to sunset. Okay. This is divided into 8 kalas. Like we have this Rahu Kala, for example. People would, it's very popular, which people try to avoid for all good activities and all that. Not that it's entirely right for all good activities, but yeah, okay, we'll not get into that. So there are these 8 kalas, meaning 12 hours is divided into 8 kalas, meaning each is around 1.5 hours long, 90 minutes long. So assuming it's say 6 a.m. is sunrise and 6 p.m. is sunset, 6 बजे सूर्योदय होता है, 6 बजे सूर्यास्त होता है. तो छठा भाग कब शुरू होगा? मतलब 2 काल पहले, है ना? 2 kalas before it will start, meaning each kala is 90 minutes long or 1.5 hours long. So 2 kalas will be 2 into 1.5, which is 3 hours long. So say 6 p.m. is sunset, 3 p.m. So between 3 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. is when is he having very little food. So morning, see, these people would be waking at Brahma Muhurta, which is 90 minutes before dawn. Say 6 a.m. is sunrise, they would be waking up at 4:30. From 4:30 onwards, he is just doing all this. Every day he is doing 1,00,000 ahuti of Gayatri. So, I mean, obviously, we can't do 1,00,000 ahuti even in that much time. But obviously, here what happens is they would have several brahmanas. Many brahmanas are there. So, they would be dividing that between them. That way it is traditionally done. But still, 1,00,000 is a very huge amount. Okay, imagine doing 1,000 or 2,000 itself is a big deal. It takes hours for that. But obviously, he will have 100 brahmanas or more like that. And even so, it would still take that much time because 1,00,000 is a huge amount, right? And then only at between 3 to 4:30 you would have a limited food, and that only once a day. You will not have anything in night or anything like that. It's not like, okay, after that in the night you will have a good dinner. No, nothing. That's it. Very limited amount of food. Like this, 18 years he does like this. उनके इस नियम से रहते हुए 18 वर्ष बीत गए. 18वें वर्ष पूर्ण होने पर सावित्री देवी संतुष्ट हुई. By the way, what is this Savitri we are talking about? We are talking about the Savitur Gayatri Mantra. Tat Savit, which is from the Rigveda, right? Tat Savitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimi Dhiyo Yona Prachodayat. Obviously, you add the Om Bhur Bhuvasva and maybe some other things and all that, but that is what is called Savitri. Okay. So the deity for this is Savitri Devi. She is the one who you are trying to please. So after 18 long years of doing this daily and that kind of lifestyle and all that, Savitri Devi became happy. See why I'm going all this very slowly. I don't want to rush it, right? It's very nice to understand the nitty-gritties, in-depth nature of this. What it means. We can just read through this, or he did for 18 years and go forward. But just imagine what kind of tapasya. I have. Why I'm saying this is, um, in jyotish, I have consultations, and I always, if I see a problem, I give some remedy. Typically I'll be giving some mantra japa and all that, and sometimes I will say that we have something called a mandala, like 40 days. If you, for 40 days, you do a kind of intense japa of that, so which may take, sometimes it may take an hour or more also for a person every day, but 40 days continuously they have to do like that. This is one of the remedies of certain different mantras depending on the person's problem and all that. The particular mantra is given. Now, sometimes people have asked, will I see results on the 41st day after that, immediately after that? That's not how it works really, because you see, you don't know when the deva will be happy. It depends on your karma and so many other things. And obviously, a very accomplished astrologer may be able to see it. I am not that kind of astrologer. I know my limitations. I may not be able to see, okay, how many. Um, because this is a standard thing for 40 days to do and all that. So I do say after that also keep doing it. Maybe not as much, but keep doing it. Right? Keep having the faith. Definitely have the faith that you are reducing the kind of blockages which are there against you. So throughout these 18 years, all that we past karmas which have caused santanhinata, and if you go through Brihat Parashara Shastra, chapter 83 in R Santanam's edition, that is the Purva Janma Shapat Dhyotana Adhyaya, which is about removing the curse of past life, and that mentions primarily santana hinata, some problem with santana or progeny as the result of past life curses. So you have to, when that level of curse is there, you have to definitely do that kind of remedy. That would be the case. It is not necessary for everyone that level of problem is there. Many times I've seen people getting results very quickly. They come and tell me, oh, we are happy and all those things. Right? Not everyone. I'm never boasting about myself. Not everyone. A few of them. So then what happens? Then Savitri prakat hote hai. Savitri comes out. Just like in Ramayana, during the Putra Kameshti Yajna, when Dashrata was doing to get children, and then Sri Rama and all were born after that. So from the Putra, that from the Yajna itself, being a deity appeared. Similarly, like that, Savitri appeared over here from the fire. The Murtimati meaning the actual Sakshatkar Savitri with her dress and her jewelry and her look and what all they have in their hands, etc. Actual Sakshat Savitri came out from that. Okay. अग्निहोत्र की अग्नि से प्रकट होकर बड़े हर्ष के साथ राजा को प्रत्यक्ष दर्शन दिया और वर देने के लिए उद्यत हो अनुष्ठान के नियम के स्थित उस राजा अश्वपति से इस प्रकार था. So basically she was very happy and she gave him the darshan and then she told him, okay, this is a very good line. Brahmacharyena Savitri vacha brahmacharyena shuddhena damena niyamena cha sarvatmana cha bhaktya cha tushtasmi tava parthiva. सो विथ योर ब्रह्मचर्य, आपके ब्रह्मचर्य से जो शुद्ध है, मतलब वेरी प्योर, मनसा काया वाचा, फ्रॉम योर बॉडी डेफिनेटली यू वेर सेलिब्रेट, नॉट जस्ट सेलिब्रेसी, not getting attracted, okay, I need to have a good gulab jamun today and like kind of thing, okay, having that sense control, okay. So mentally also, even mentally not getting attracted towards that would be more like dhamma, which he's talking about indriya samyam, which is sense control, okay, and niyama, following the rules and regulations constantly, okay, and sampurna hriday se, with full heart. It is not like, okay, I have to do this, so it's here again another learning is there for us. How should we do remedies? Brahmacharyena shuddhena, with pure restraint and all, damena, being controlled, okay, with full heart, sarvatmana, okay, sarvatmana cha bhaktya. So with full heart that you have done over here, tushtasmi, I am pleased by that. O Parthiva, O king, I am very pleased by that. Varam vrinishva ashvapate, madra raja deepsitam, na pramadas dharmeshu kartavyaste katanchana. So, हे मदर नरेश, वट एवर यू रिक्वायर, आपको जो चाहिए वो मांगो, जो अभिष्ट है वो मांगो. अब ये इसमें इंटरेस्टिंग है, दिस वन इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग विल सी इन द नेक्स्ट पेज. शी इज आस्किंग हिम, यू आस्क व्हाट यू वांट, ओके, बट देन व्हाट हैपेंस वी विल सी. सो देन अश्वपति सेज, मैंने धर्म प्राप्ति की इच्छा से संतान के लिए यह अनुष्ठान आरंभ किया है. आपकी कृपा से मुझे बहुत से वंश प्रवर्तक पुत्र प्राप्त हो. आई हैव डन दिस धर्म, आई हैव डन दिस राइट्स एंड ऑल दैट फॉर द सेक ऑफ धर्म, सो दैट आई कैन गेट संतान, ओके, आई कैन गेट प्रोजनी, एंड विथ योर ग्रेस मे आई हैव वंश प्रवर्तक पुत्र, such progeny, such sons who would further my vamsha. You know, after them there will be grandsons and great grandsons and so on and so forth. So such sons with such karma that, you know, they don't have to do this kind of tapasya which I am doing, kind of thing. Okay. यदि आप प्रसन्न हो तो आपसे ये संतान संबंधी वर ही मांगता हूँ, क्योंकि द्विजाति गुण मुझसे बार बार यही कहते हैं, न्यायुक्त संतान उत्पादन परम धर्म है. सो properly done begetting of children, that is having children, is right dharma. It is the right thing to do. It is because, you see, if everyone stops having children, how will the human race go forward? There are so many souls who want to get birth over here so that they can overcome their karmas. How will that happen? So hence our Sanatana Dharma, my Guruji always uses this words like a pun, Santana and Sanatana. It's very much linked. Okay. So to further this Sanatana Dharma, we need Santana, as simple as that. Okay. Then Savitri said, राजन, मैंने पहले ही तुम्हारे इस अभिप्राय को जानकर पुत्र के लिए भगवान ब्रह्मा जी से निवेदन किया था. सो आई एम आस्किंग यू, बट आई ऑलरेडी नो व्हाट यू हैव इन माइंड. दैट्स व्हाट सावित्री सिंह. आई नो दैट you want children, okay, you want putras, you want sons, okay. We'll get into why son, daughter and all separately, okay, because we know what happened to him, right. अथस सो भगवान ब्रह्मा जी की कृपा से तुम्हें शीघ्र इस पृथ्वी पर एक तेजस्विनी कन्या प्राप्त होगी. So you are asking for sons, but you are going to get one daughter, but a tejaswini daughter, kanya tejaswini, okay, that's what is mentioned over here, okay. एक्सक्यूज मी. इस विषय में तुम्हें किसी तरह का कोई प्रतिवाद या उत्तर देना, कीप क्वाइट, डोंट से एनीथिंग, बिकॉज यू नो व्हेन ही हैज आस्क्ड फॉर सन्स, मेनी सन्स, एंड शी सेज आई एम गोइंग टू गिव यू वन but great daughter, immediately is going to, come on madam Devi, I have asked for sons and you are giving me daughter. So she immediately says, don't say anything, okay, because this is Brahma ji's thing. So if you say no and all that, then that may have bad repercussions. So you should not be like that, okay. It's inauspicious. So, and that's how good people behave. Okay, you have done your hard work, you will get a result. Then this is a result. This is a good result. From having nothing is at least getting something. Okay. मैं ब्रह्मा जी के आगे संतुष्ट होकर तुमसे ये बात कहती हूँ. I am happy with what Brahma ji say. I am happy with it. Otherwise, I may have debated, but still, who will debate with Brahma on that? Brahma meaning here the one who is decided, Vidhata, Brahma. It as per the karmas. Okay, you had some bad karma. You overcame that, and then for 18 years you did all of that. This is the result of it. But believe me, when you will reach to the end of this story, right at the end of the 7th chapter or 6th chapter at least, you will know that eventually Ashwapati gets this thing, okay, and eventually it is Savitri who gets this for him. We will keep it as a secret, yeah, some kind of hook to keep you till then. So yeah, so this is what happens. So then what Ashwapati says, okay, fine, I am whatever you say, whatever you say, बहुत अच्छा. And only he says ki whatever, let it happen quickly. It would be good. It should not be that I have to wait another many years for this. Okay. And when Savitri Devi goes off, he goes back to his country, his place, palace, and then soon after his wife becomes pregnant. His Mahishi. See, the word mentioned is Jesthayam Dharmacharinyam Mahishyam Garbha Mahadaye. So the senior most, obviously these are kings in ancient times, they would have many queens, but the senior most queen, okay, he impregnated her, she became pregnant, okay, and it's mentioned like, you know, आकाश में शुक्ल पक्षीय चंद्रमा के भांति दिनों दिनों बढ़ने लगे. Her womb, you know, like shukla paksha, it kept growing. Obviously wombs grow and all that, but it is in a poetic language mentioned over here. समय प्राप्त होने पर महारानी ने एक कमल नयनी कन्या को जन्म दिया. और देन अश्वपति अत्यंत प्रसन्न होकर उसके जातक कर्म आदि संस्कार संपन्न किए. सो व्हेन द टाइम केम, शी गेव बर्थ टू अ very beautiful daughter, and Ashwapati did all the jata karma samskaras. You know, when a child is born, you do some jata karma samskaras, then you have to give it name. So next one is the name part. We will read the Sanskrit over here. Savitrya Pritaya Datta Savitrya Hutaya Hiyapi Savitrityeva Namasya Chakru Viprastata Pita. Here it is given why she was named Savitri. सावित्री ने प्रसन्न होकर उस कन्या को दिया था तथा गायत्री मंत्रों द्वारा आहुति देने से ही सावित्री देवी प्रसन्न हुई थी. अतः ब्राह्मणों ने तथा पिता ने, दैट इज अश्वपति ने, उस कन्या का नाम सावित्री ही रखा. बिकॉज बाय प्लीजिंग सावित्री एंड बाय डूइंग द गायत्री सवितुर गायत्री मंत्र आहुतिस, बिकॉज ऑफ दैट सावित्री देवी हैड बिकम हैप्पी and given this daughter to him. Hence he named her Savitri after the name of the goddess. वह राजकन्या मूर्तिमती लक्ष्मी के समान बढ़ने लगी और यथा समय उसने युवावस्था में प्रवेश किया. She grew up and she, you know, she came of age, as they say. So she became a young woman. Okay, and then her beauty is explained and all that. See, here it's mentioned Suvarna ke bani hui pratima. Suvarna means gold. She looked like a golden idol. Means she has that kind of brilliance or tejas in her. Okay. Her eyes looked like two lotuses, etc. वह अपने तेज से प्रज्वलित सी जान पड़ती थी. She was, you know, it's like a lamp lit. You know, it has its own light, right? It is, so it's like an inner light shining through her. Okay. Now there was a problem because of that. उसके तेज से प्रतिहत हो जाने के कारण कोई भी राजा या राजकुमार उसका वर्ण नहीं करना चाहता था, नहीं कर सका. Okay, but because she was so tejasvi, like, you know, this from a purva janma punya. You are getting this kind of a tejas. You have that mantra shakti in you, that ojas in you, and also we will see it's not just about her looks and just her presence, but also how she speaks and all that. We will see that later. She's very determined woman. Okay, very clear, determined woman. So many people feel a bit insecure. I mean, men would always like, you know, if you can't marry a superwoman kind of thing. She was kind of a superwoman for them, and hence no one was able to marry her. So thus it happens, and you know, obviously this is not a good thing. Ashwapati would not be happy about it. We'll see that. Then on one day, किसी पर्व के अवसर पर, on some festivity or an important day, सिर से स्नान करके, I mean washing her head and all that, because you know, every day you may not detailedly wash your head, right, with oil bath and all that. So that day it seems she has done all of that. देवता के दर्शन के लिए गई और विधि पूर्वक, so she went to the temple and then she did विधि पूर्वक अग्नि में आहुति दी. Okay, she did the यज्ञ offerings and all that. उसने ब्राह्मणों से स्वस्ति वाचन कराया. So the brahmanas do swasti. Swasti Vachan meaning may all good happen to you, Swasti no Indro Vriddashrava, like that. They will have a set of shlokas, may all good happen to you. Basically, that is the key thing of that. Then, Tadantar Ishta Devata ka prasad lekar. So, after that, she prayed to Ishta Devata and getting that prasad, she went to her father. Okay, अपने महात्मा पिता के समीप गई. पहले प्रसाद आदि निवेदन करके उसने पिता के चरणों में प्रणाम किया. फिर वह सुंदरी कन्या हाथ जोड़कर पिता के पार्श्व भाग में खड़ी हो गई. So interesting, you know. So she obviously offered all the prasad and everything, and then she touched his feet, and she's in front of him, right? She goes and stands by his side. Okay, maybe slightly towards the back or something, not like in front. So you are giving a respect to your father. अपनी देव स्वरूपिणी पुत्री को युवस्था में प्रविष्ट हुए देख और अभी तक इसके लिए किसी वर ने याचना नहीं की, यह सोचकर मदर नरेश को बड़ा दुख हुआ. So he was very unhappy that, you know, she is youthful now, she is entered her youth, and there is no one who is come to marry her, right? In the past old days, the kings would come and then they would offer a proposal that we would like to marry your daughter. I mean, we ask for the hand of your daughter and like that, and then they would marry and take her. So, for example, when Sri Ram came, while there is this Swayamvara kind of thing and all that in Ramayana, actually speaking, Valmiki's Ramayana, there is no mention of any Swayamvara. Sri Rama was brought in by by Vishwamitra Rishi to Janaka's palace, and Janaka welcomed them and all that. And then they talk about there is this bow and all that, and Sri Rama just happened to pick it. There was nothing like a Swayamvara and all that. And then that happened. So the males would come to the female and ask for their hand. That's how it was. So no one is coming, so what to do? बेटी, अब किसी वर के साथ तेरा ब्याह कर देने का समय आ गया है, परंतु कोई भी मुझसे तुझे मांग नहीं रहा. No one is asking for your hand even though it is the time. इसलिए, see this interesting thing, I don't think you would have expected that something like this would happen as this is going to happen now. इसलिए तू स्वयं ही ऐसे वर की खोज कर ले जो गुणों में तेरे समान हो. So now the father is saying, I am not able to find, no one is coming and asking you your hand, so please you yourself go out and find whomsoever you like and who is, you feel is equal to you in terms of guna, virtues and all those things. So today people talk about feminine empowerment and all that. When you read, this is just the starting, as you will see further and further in Savitri's story. This modern feminists and all don't stand a chance in front of her, right? And this is how, a lady of that level was treated like that, okay? Even a father treated, okay? See, he may not have said this for any woman, any daughter, but he knows what Savitri is, right? And that's why he gives her, okay, you go and find out whom to marry, okay? जिस पुरुष को तू पति रूप में प्राप्त करना चाहे उसका मुझे परिचय दे देना. Whomsoever you want to marry, you just let me know who it is. मैं सोच विचार कर उसके साथ तेरा ब्याह कर दूँ. After a little bit of thinking, consideration, I may consult my courtiers also, because she is not anyone's daughter. She is a king's daughter. So there are a lot of implications and all that. And he, as a king, he would also want to be very sure about whomsoever she is going to marry. But first decision is hers, whom to marry. It's not like her father will decide, okay, this is the person you should marry. तू मनोवांछित वर का वरण कर ले. Whomsoever from your heart you like, you marry such a person. Okay. And then he says कि मैंने ब्राह्मणों के मुख से धर्मशास्त्रों में जो बात सुनी है उसे मैं तुम्हें बता रहा हूँ. And he is a very interesting line. So from the Dharma Shastras, right? For example, Manava Dharma Shastra is a Dharma Shastra. There are so many Parashara Shastra, Vasishtha. There are so many rishis who have written on Dharma Shastras. So mostly what they have said is विवाह के योग्य हो जाने पर कन्या का दान न करने वाला पिता निंदनीय है. When a daughter has come of age, a father who doesn't get her married, who doesn't find the suitable marriage for her, he is to be condemned, निंदनीय. ऋतुकाल में पत्नी के साथ समागम न करने वाला पति निंदा का पात्र है. ऋतुकाल में पत्नी के साथ समागम न करने वाला. Okay, so when you see, because in our traditions we believe that you should have children and all that. So when a woman is fertile, when a wife is fertile, if the husband avoids having relations with her, that is also condemnable, because you are not giving chance for having children. If that is, this is for those who are in that age before they have not had children, or they are having maybe one child or something like that at that time. That is, one has to understand the context. Okay. तथा पति के मर जाने पर विधवा माता की रक्षा न करने वाला पुत्र धिक्कार के योग्य है. The son who doesn't take care of his widowed mother, that is the son's father, the wife, the husband of his mother, is passed away. So there's no one to take care of her. It is a duty of the son to take care of her. So here is a man in different levels explained, like when he's a father, when he's a husband, and when he is a son. What is the one thing he should not do? Okay. So now I am in this situation. I am not able to get you married. So यह मेरी बात सुनकर तू पति के खोज करने में शीघ्रता कर, ऐसी चेष्टा कर जिससे मैं देवताओं की दृष्टि में अपराधी ना बनूं. So hence, oh my daughter, please go out and make all efforts to find a suitable husband for yourself. Let it not be that I become a wrongdoer in the eyes of the gods. And then he gets all the arrangements done with his mantris and all that, because she's not going to be going alone. So all his senior ministers and all will also go around with her, because to accompany her, to help her out, etc. Okay. And I'll explain my own interpretation of how things would have happened. मनस्विनी सावित्री ने कुछ लज्जित सी होकर पिता के चरणों में प्रणाम किया. So she was a bit what you call abashed, as they say. She must, I don't know how old she must have been. Maybe she was around 20 or so, which in those days would have been considered a bit late to get married and all. And her father is so openly talking about her marriage, so she became a bit abashed and all that, because you see, traditionally we would have not like a friendly kind of relationship with our parents. There would be a bit of distance and all that, and things may not be discussed so openly and all. So here he is openly saying, you go and find someone to get married and all that. So she was a bit abashed by that. But and it was not like he asked, do you want to get married? Do you think the right time to get married? He says you should go and get married. Now again, this may be anti-feminism and all that, but that was those age. So you have to respect that. The point which I'm trying to highlight is, despite that kind of age, which one may say women were under the men and all that, which to an extent is true also, there was this example where a woman had the right to go and find her own husband. We also know of Swayamvaras and all that, right, where women would choose their husband and all. So उनका आगे श्रेयोधार्य करके बिना कुछ सोच विचार किए उससे she went off. So उसने प्रस्थान किया. She didn't ask any question. She said, okay father, I accept what you say and I'll go and find someone. सुवर्णमय रथ पर सवार हो बूढ़े मंत्रियों से घिरी हुई वह राजकन्या राजर्षियों के सुरम्य तपोवन में गई. So in a nice chariot, and there would be entire entourage, and with Budhe Mantri, the very senior experienced mantris of ministers of Ashwapati, along with them she went into, where did she go? Now you would think, okay, she's a princess, so she will mind, definitely they will look at, she also knows that she can't marry a commoner, she has to marry a prince or equal and all that. Though her father may have not stipulated, but she would know, okay, because someone who marry her may become the king tomorrow if her father doesn't have a son, let's say in future. So it has to be a good someone of that capability and all. So where would she go? She should have gone to the other kingdoms and palaces and over there. But she goes Rajarshio ke Suramya Tapovan mein. She goes into the forests where the Rajarshis stay. Now, a bit of understanding is required over here for those who may not know. We have four what do you call stages of life, ashramas: brahmacharya, ashrama, garbha, grihasthashram, vanaprasthashram, and sannyasashram. These are the stages of life. First one person, a person is student, he learns and all that, and then he gets into family life. He marries, has children, and he takes care of children and all. Then vanaprastha. That is, you go into the once typically you may have grandchild or something, you'll go into forest. Similarly, for a king also, the kings in those days, after a certain age, they would retire. They would give off all the because they have ruled enough. They would give it to their successors, it may be their son or whoever it is, and then they will go to the forest. This is not sannyasa because they would be staying outside of society but still like not deep into forest, and they will not be like going from one place to the other place like sannyasi. They will be staying at one place in an ashrama. So there they will be having very simple lifestyle, okay, no luxuries, okay, uh, eating very limited level of food and all that, doing a lot of japa and all that, and by that the spiritual level increases, and then after that in further old age they will go into sannyasa. Okay, that was a typical understanding. So she goes to such a forest where Rajeshis, retired kings were there. It's interesting, right? So okay, we'll finish this and then maybe discuss. वहाँ मान्य वृद्ध जनों की चरण वंदना करके उसने क्रमशः सभी वनों में भ्रमण किया. So she took blessings of all the old people over there, basically many of them old kings, okay, and got their blessings. And then in such way she visited many forests. It's not mentioned she has visited any city, okay. इस प्रकार राजकुमारी सावित्री सभी तीर्थों में जाकर श्रेष्ठ ब्राह्मणों को धन दान करती और विभिन्न देशों में घूमती फिरी. So she went to several tirthas also, like pilgrimage places. One is this tapovans and all that, which are forest places and where all these highly spiritual people are there. And she also went to tirthas, which is pilgrimage places, like say Varanasi of today and all that. And there she gave a lot of lot of danas to, that is, lot of donations to brahmanas, etc. So that she gets good blessings. So, see, this is a way of going about things. Whenever you have an objective to accomplish, you go and get blessings of people. And we will see this example further also, later on when Savitri does a vrata, what she does and all. So why did she go to forest? So my understanding is that maybe Ashwapati would have already exhausted all the options of all the good kings and all that. He knew that no king is coming over there. So now who would know a right groom, right person for Savitri? So Savitri figures out that it would be by going to forests where the experienced kings are there. They would have someone in their mind. They would know. So what would typically happen is that she would be going along with the kings and with the ministers and all, and then she would take the blessings, and she's a young lady. She may not herself talk because these are respected people. So I suppose the ministers would talk. That's why all the senior ministers had gone. They would say she is Savitri, daughter of Ashwapati. You can see she's so beautiful, such good qualities. She's come of age, but despite all of that, she's not married. Would you know of anyone, in your understanding, who could be good and all that? So in such way she did, and in fact, in such way only she finds her future husband, whom we know is Satyavan. But we'll do that in the next time. And I hope you found it interesting. I really enjoyed it in sharing all of this. Maybe some people who are like only Hindi speaking, they may be a bit unhappy with me. But I did read the Hindi over here fully. मैंने हिंदी तो पूरा यहाँ पढ़ा है, तो ये तो आपको समझ में आया होगा. और फिर से एक बात कह दूँ, मैंने जो पहले कहानी है, because I always give reference. This is in the okay, here it is mentioned quite clearly. Iti Shri Mahabharate Vanaparvani Pativrata Mahatmya Parvani Savitri Upakhyane Trinavatya Adhika Dvishatatamo Adhyaya. This is explaining exactly where in Mahabharata you can find this. So you find this in the Vanaparva, okay, which is a huge book inside the Mahabharata. Within that, you find this in the Pativrata Mahatmya Parva. Let me tell you this at the pretty much, I think towards the end of the um, this Vanaparva. Okay, pretty much towards the end. So if you have the Vanaparva, go towards the end. And which chapter? Tri Navatya Adhika Dvishatatamo. Dvishatatamo means 200. Navatyadhika means add a 90 to that, and 3 means add a 3 to that. So 93 plus 200. So 293rd chapter is where you will find this. I think this 93rd chapter of the Vanaparva specifically. Let me just cross check. Yeah, this is the 293rd chapter of the Vanaparva, not of the entire Mahabharata. Okay. So in Vanaparva, you have to find the 293rd chapter. In English editions, what I've seen is like the those who want to study, read the English translations for this thing. So Kisari Mohan Ganguly's translation is available again freely on internet. You can either go to the website called Wisdom Lib, WISDOM Wisdom LIB Lib, or you can go to sacredtexts.com, SACREDTEXTS.com. In either of this, you will find the English translation by Kisari Mohan Ganguly. Again, this was written more than 100 years, translation was done more than 100 years back. But the chapter numbers are a bit here and there. I mean, since it can be a chapter before or after. So, in case you don't find this exact one, just maybe go a bit before, chapter before or chapter after, and you should be able to find it. Okay. So, thank you very much for patiently listening to me. Namaskar.